if any woman was like in my mind for a day, they would have they would have some negative opinions about myself. And I'm genuinely a nice guy, but I'm going to be like, I can look up from looking at my phone, be like, oh, she's unattractive. Let me not look back at her, and then I can see a girl is like, oh, wow, she's woo, PYT. Let me do a double take. Oh shit, she saw me. Hey, what's up, baby? Looks like canceling Andrew Tate only made him stronger. Go figure, he's the top G. It looks like someone else wants to attempt to take him down, right? This I don't know what's his face has them on their show. Let's see how Andrew Tate handles himself.
Videos of Tate have been viewed billions of times online. He's built an enormous following of mostly young men, and his often scandalous views about women that have made him notorious across the world. Views like this.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Real quick on that, the only time he said women can be considered property or under the confines of marriage, right? Isn't that tradition? The father gives away the bride his daughter. It's a tradition of putting your daughter from one household into another person's household, your husband. I thought that was understood. I guess women are just getting married for the wedding.
Tate's opinions on mental illness are equally controversial.
I don't believe in depression. Don't message me about depression because I don't believe in it. If you're asleep in your bed in the middle of the night and you hear a noise and you believe in ghosts, now you're afraid. But if you don't believe in ghosts, it's the wind and you go back to sleep. You give the ghosts power by believing in them.
I can see his point about depression. Stop telling yourself you're depressed, because then how is that going to help you? You could actually convince, your mind is a powerful thing, so you could convince yourself that you are a lot of things. If you're constantly going, I'm depressed, I hate my life, I hate my body, why am I here? If you're just questioning everything and just giving yourself negative self-talk, it doesn't do you any good, right? Let's look at it like that. He's not trying to make fun of people who are like clinically depressed. Right. He said he doesn't believe it, right? But hey, I could understand his argument. You keep telling yourself one thing, and yeah, it's gonna happen. You keep telling you're gonna get sick, boom, you're gonna get sick. Just chill out.
So he flew from Romania to sit here in this studio, and the full explosive interview airs later this week. Here's a bit of what's to come. Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
Yes.
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking it?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
say... For
say...
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
How is that misogyny? Misogyny. I believe the definition of misogyny is like the hatred and prejudice and contempt of women, right? To say that a man has a preference in younger women than older women, I don't see how that's misogynistic. I think world round, men, no matter their age, would prefer someone on the younger side. We all want a PYT pretty young thing. Shout out to Michael Jackson. Rest in peace. I thought, like, how is that weird? How is saying that so wrong? How is having a preference so evil all of a sudden. Like, yeah, I want a girl. I think peak attractiveness, 19, 21, 19 to 21. Like, that's like peak for me.
Way.
Well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny then, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm...
What?
Not when I'm...
Being anti any type of woman is misogynist? Am I okay? If I'm anti a woman who is a serial killer, am I a bad guy? That was an extreme. Okay, if I'm anti rude chicks, does that make me misogynist? Does that make me anti women? If I'm anti aggressive women, if I'm anti dumb women, if I'm anti gold digging bitch, am I misogynist for that? I can't have a preference. I don't see how. Am I supposed to accept all women? How does that make any sense? He's not being genuine. How are you going to say, okay, don't act like you don't have a preference between a woman who's in shape and a woman who's out of shape?
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age.
You're saying 18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, than ageist, perhaps, but misogynistic, absolutely
Is that
not.
really? But you just accepted it was misogyny.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
But if a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments,
Yeah.
would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Why is he trying to get him to apologize? Where did that even come from? He's acting like middle age. Women in their mid-20s are stepping out saying, "Oh my God, he hurt me," and now this Piers Morgan guy is trying to come to their defense. Like, do you not hear their cries? There are bigger issues here. Why do you need him to apologize for that?
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of world for women that you?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
So you're using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine?
My friend.
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where
You don't think it's fine?
the reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what?
Why, what? Could you let him talk? How are you going to bring him onto the show and not let him talk?
With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
he was looking at a card as he was talking to Andrew Tate just right now. Why does he have that prepared for him? I see. That's why it doesn't feel genuine right now. It feels like he had that set up just so he could collect the right words to get on Andrew Tate to tap out and submit. Right? He wants to be the one to be like, yeah, I got Andrew Tate to realize his wrongs and say I'm sorry. It feels so forced. I don't know. Something about him seems like shady.
That doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable.
Is that a truth?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died.
But yeah, the dude is just a realist, right? And his content, in his content, he's talking to men, right? I'm not that offended because I've been yelled at, I've been called slurs, I've called other people slurs. Like, that's just the vibe. That's locker talk. Like, that's how men talk to other men. But now he just grows so much popularity. Now women are hearing this and they're just like, he's evil. He's evil. Oh my gosh. If any woman was like in my mind for a day, they would have some negative opinions about myself. And I'm genuinely a nice guy. But I'm going to be like, I can look up from looking at my phone, be like, oh, she's unattractive. Let me not look back at her, and then I can see a girl is like, oh, wow, she's woo, EYT. Let me do a double take. Oh shit, she saw me. These are just masculine man thoughts.
From an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression had become a much more serious depressive illness, and she very sadly took her life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right. Her father,
That's terrible.
Her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you.
That's the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad. The world we live in today is...
Okay, what was that? What were they expecting him to say? Oh, well, it was her fault. Like, she shouldn't have given in to depression. This imaginary disease. What were they expecting him to say? He's a human being. He has a heart. He's surrounded by lots of people. There's a lot of people in his life. Why do they think they get any reaction other than this? This is terrible. Like, this is tragic news. Who do they think this guy is? That's wild to me. And you know, Piers mentions about his father blame this on negative content over the internet. Are they gonna say that he's part of the fuel that is encouraging all this negative stuff on the internet? She's a little girl. What is she? Okay, what is her knowing anything about Andrew Tate gonna do? All right, kids are stupid. Kids are assholes. Okay, prepare yourself. Right, this is going to catch you off guard. I don't think you're ready for this, so buckle up. Bullying existed far before Andrew Tate was ever even heard of on the internet. Kids are freaking mean. If you listen to the way they insult each other, it's freaking mean. Like, your mother's fat, you're stupid, when nobody wants you here. Like, those child like insults. You hear them now, and it's just like, wow, that was actually tough. Kids are mean. Kids are bullies. Kids were bullies before the internet.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
The world we live in, the fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
I'd say them differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So to me, that's an acceptance, not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but that you've recognized and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that with massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything. Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
Thank you. Yes. Why is it just his content? Right? He was all the rage on TikTok at one point. Are we just gonna sit here and say, like, yo, there wasn't negative stuff on the internet? SpongeBob is negative. What the heck? No one cares about Demo, Texas. Squidward is openly, like, depressed and just, he hates his life. He hates his job. He's the average 20-year-old, right, in America. Yo, you don't think that's, like, persuasive, right? That can't change somebody's mind and make them feel, like, regressed and make them want to maybe delete themselves. Like, the internet is just bad. And can we talk about the parents? Can we talk about parents? Why can't parents take some responsibility, some accountability, and be like, yo, I should not leave my kid. It's probably a bad idea to leave my kid on this iPad for several hours on end, right? Because you're not. Look, I understand you can't. You won't be there to babysit your kid. You won't be there to control everything your child absorbs, every piece of content. I understand that you're busy, you're working hard, but you need to just do a better job. You didn't even have to buy the iPad, right? You could let them use the iPad maybe 2 hours in a day tops, right? My mom was strict. My mom wouldn't let me watch wrestling. She wouldn't let me watch wrestling. I was already wrestling my little brother all the time, my older brother and my little brother. I started watching wrestling. All of a sudden, I can't watch wrestling because I might hurt my younger brother trying to move or some stuff. I'm like, what are you talking? I've been doing this all day. Ever since he could walk, I was pushing his ass down. Get the fuck down there. Stay down there. What the fuck? Not gonna be me. You know, canceling Andrew Tate is like me taking depressants. I'm supposed to fall, but it only makes me stronger.